You ready? What's going on, folks? Welcome back to Fabrication 101. Thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome back to the shop. You can see the Bronco cage behind me is all painted and ready to go. Back in, I'm just waiting on a few more things to get done in the body before I put the cage back in. But while I was doing that, I decided I have a confession to make, and I have an addiction, I think. I have an addiction to buying tools. In fact, some of the projects that I come up with, the ideas that I have, I kind of start knowing that I need to get a tool for it. And there's kind of like the hope that maybe I'll just buy this tool and then it'll give me an excuse to work on this project. Or maybe it's the other way around, where I'll do this project and it'll give me an excuse to buy this tool. So it got me thinking, what would I say are the 10 tools that every beginning fabricator needs or should try to get into their shop, and again, try to keep it kind of somewhat budget friendly. Most of these tools are going to be less than $100. Some are going to be a little bit more expensive, but it really depends on what you buy, what you decide to purchase. So that said, let's get into these tools. So the first tool that I would suggest that everybody gets is Sharpies, or not specifically Sharpies, but this is the Milwaukee ink saw, which I kind of prefer better than a regular old Sharpie. One thing I've found is that if your tubing has a little bit of oil on it from the factory, the Milwaukee ink saw will write through that if it's a little bit. Where a lot of times the good old-fashioned Sharpie will not. Okay. One other thing that I really like about the ink saw versus the regular old Sharpie is that the Sharpie tends to want to roll away, whereas the ink saw does not. It has this little hook on it, and I don't know if that's what it's designed for, to keep it from rolling away. But it does stop it from rolling off, and I like that a lot better, because it's frustrating when you set your marker down and it rolls off the table on you, and you have to go looking for it because it rolled under the bench next to you. One thing, regardless of which one of these two you choose, and it's a good idea to have more than one, because it never fails. You'll mark a part, set your Sharpie down, and then you'll go to do something else, and then sure enough, you can't find it, or and then you're not sure where it is. So I always like to have multiples of them. If you've noticed in any of my videos, sometimes there's 5 or 6 of these laying around. So it's always a good idea to have more than one of these. The next tool that I think you should have, that a beginning fabricator should have, is a tape measure. And there's lots of different models of these guys. But a good tape measure will save you a lot of time and struggle. It always makes sense to have more than one of these, because it never fails that you go to your vehicle to take a measurement, or whatever your project is that you're working on, and then you leave the tape measure there. And then you walk over to your saw so you can, or your material, so you can mark out your cut, and sure enough, you don't have your tape measure. So it's always a good idea to have more than one of these. This is another tape measure that I have that I've had for quite a while that I really like. So one of the things I really like about this tape measure is that it kind of works the opposite of this guy. Whereas this one, to get it to stay out, you have to push this little yellow lever down. This one stays out automatically, and then you push the button to retract it, which I always kind of liked. I also like this one's a little bit smaller, fits in my hand a little bit better. You don't really need a 25-foot tape if you're just doing like in the shop fabrication. So I like these 8 or 12-foot tapes for a lot of what I do. But having a tape measure or more than one is always a necessary tool. So the next tool that I think is super important for fabricators in general, not just beginning fabricators, is the good old-fashioned speed square. These things are actually a carpentry tool for framers, but they got a lot of uses in the welding and fabrication world, more so than just doing a 90-degree or a 45-degree cut or mark. They're super useful. There's a lot of different modifications that I've seen people make to these for different fab purposes. I haven't done any of those to this particular one. I've done them to other ones in the past. I also have a bigger square. They make smaller ones. Again, these things are super useful for marking angles. You can use them as a quick dirty straight edge for plasma cutting, and they work great. So another really important tool, especially if you're beginning, is the speed square. So my next tool that I think is important for fabricators is to have some sort of a straight edge. This is a nice aluminum one. I don't remember where I bought it from, probably from the Home Depot store or the big box store. But having a big straight edge, a long straight edge that you can lay down on big pieces and use to not only draw a straight edge with your marker, but you can use as a guide for cutting. You know, if you're cutting with like a circular saw, you can put the foot plate of your saw right up against it and use it as a guide. There's a lot of different ways that you can use a good straight edge, not only for marking, but for cutting purposes as well. So it doesn't have to be one with marks on it. You could just use a piece of material, as long as it's straight. You know, be wary of grabbing a piece of material that's not straight and thinking you're drawing straight lines with it. So the straight edge is super important, so make sure you don't leave it off your list if you're planning to go shopping later. So my next tool maybe is more of a luxury than a necessity, but it is going to make your life a lot easier if you're getting into fabrication, and that is having some sort of a fab table or just a table that you can work on. Does it have to be metal? No, not necessarily. You could use some of these cheap folding tables. I've got this one. Obviously it's in pretty rough shape because I use it for a lot of different things, and it's sat outside in the weather a few times, but it's a fairly inexpensive table. True story, a few years ago I took some of my students on an impromptu trip to a welding competition. It was a team fab event. We went with a plastic folding table. Some of the teams kind of looked at us a little silly, but we took second in the event working off of a plastic folding table, and we did not damage the table. So my next group of tools, and I say group of tools because I think you need an assortment of these, is clamps. And there's a lot of different types of clamps. You can go from like basic little spring clamps, which are super nice and useful, and they can work out your forearms, get a good pump, to these quick clamps, which I really like because they're easy to use one-handed. If you watched my last video, I talked about one of my quick clamps not surviving, and it did break. It actually broke when I was going to take the top off of the Bronco, off the frame. So, and it snapped right in here, which my fault. I guess I should have been paying attention, but these are great clamps. Another type that I like a lot are these, I call them vice clamps. They're adjustable, so you can adjust them to different sizes. Here's a quick tip. This is something I see a lot with people, is if you get this done with your clamp and you don't know how to put it back, it's really, really easy. Hold the clamp like this with your hand, take this part, and it's fixed like that, just like that. So these are really good little tools to have as well. Another type of clamp is these guys. This is actually called an F clamp. Some people refer to them as Basic clamps. That's a brand name, but these are really nice to have. This is just a Harbor Freight one, but they work great. They're very adjustable, and you can get a lot of clamping force out of these guys. And you might see that I've got ratchet straps up on here. This is another type of clamp that if you haven't never thought about this, you're missing out, because ratchet straps are great large clamps or irregularly shaped clamps. If you've got a clamp around something that's got kind of an odd shape, ratchet straps work really well for that kind of thing. You got big ones and kind of normal sized ones. They're really nice if you need to pull a frame back to being square. So don't discount ratchet straps when you start thinking about clamps, because these are super useful for clamping purposes or holding things in place. So the Portaband, I think, is your best option for kind of all around work. If you've watched any of my videos, you've seen me use this thing quite a bit standing up in my vise, clamped in there, and then I use one of my quick clamps, my Irwin clamps, to squeeze the trigger. There are companies that make tables kits for these things, so you can stand them up and use them like a vertical bandsaw. I've just never really seen the value in that, since I can put it in my vise and it works really well for me that way. And I probably use the majority of this thing's use anymore is like you see it in my vise. I've had this particular saw for many years. I've actually had it fixed twice. I had a big piece of a gate fall on it one time and broke it in half. Right up here, kind of broke this piece, which got repaired, no cost for me. And then one time the worm gear actually went out in it, and I had that repaired, and it's been fine ever since. So Portaband, I think, is a must-have for cutting materials. There's lots of different saws or options, but I think this is the best one here. Now, we're getting into the more expensive tools, and this is probably going to be one of your more expensive ones. These are range in the, like the $150 to $300 range, somewhere in there, depending on what you get. So, maybe save up your pennies, recycle some soda cans, but get yourself a Portaband if you don't have one. Another super important tool, the drill, is another one of these super important tools that you should have. And you want to have at least a half-inch chuck drill. I don't even know if you can buy a 3/8 chuck anymore. But having some sort of a drill, doesn't have to be battery, doesn't have to be this brand, but having some sort of a drill in your toolbox, hanging on your wall, is super important. And if you want to go the extra step and go to a drill press along with your drill, that's going to make some hole drilling significantly easier. So make sure and add a drill to your toolbox if you're going to start fabricating. I'm getting down to the final tools here, folks. Not the last one. Another, I think, important tool is having some sort of a angle grinder, and it can be these 4.5 inches, or it can be a bigger 7-inch grinder, or 8-inch or 9-inch, because they go bigger. Having a grinder is super important. If you put a cutoff wheel on it, you can use it to cut materials. You can cut steel. If you get the right blades, you can cut some aluminum or stainless steel with these things as well. You can go to a flap disc so that you can do some grinding and smoothing and finishing. You can put hard wheels on them. I don't have a hard wheel anywhere close by. You can put wire wheels on them to use for cleaning purposes. Having a grinder, don't necessarily need more than one, but a lot of people I know like to have more than one so that you don't have to switch back and forth, either from cutting wheel to grinding wheel, or grinding wheel to wire wheel, or to a hard wheel. So if you're going to start fabricating, make sure you get yourself an angle grinder. So last but not least, some of you are probably wondering where this is. You're going to need a welder of some sort if you're going to get into fabrication. Even if you're just doing it for yourself at home, You're going to want to be able to weld at some point. If you're just getting this brand new, there's a lot of really inexpensive options out there in the world. There's a lot of very expensive options. If I was just starting out, now with what's out there in the market nowadays, I would be looking for one of the new multi-process machines that can do your MIG welding. You can also stick weld with it if you need to, and you can TIG weld, and you want to spend a little bit more money, you can get the AC TIG, so you can TIG weld aluminum as well. I would go with a multi-process machine. They're not the most inexpensive machines that are out there. There's a lot of cheaper ones out there that you can buy, but I think a good multi-process machine is worth the investment because you can do a lot with a little bit of a machine, and they're getting better and better as we go. So I know I said 10 tips, but I got one more bonus, and you might say this is kind of a freebie. A really good tool is cardboard. This is the original CAD cardboard aided design. Using cardboard to create patterns, templates, you can make a box out of it that you can use to replicate whatever. There's all kinds of, you're kind of limited only by your ideas when it comes to cardboard. Now, if you want to spring a little bit of money on it and go a little more, you can go to the step up to some ram board. You guys have seen me use this in some of my other videos. Another really great tool to use for making patterns. You can see this one's got some black spray paint on the edge of it. I used it as kind of like a portable mask. I wedged it up behind some tubes so I could spray paint next to them without getting the part behind it black. So very useful material. So there you guys go. There's literally hundreds of different types of fabrication tools. These are just the ones that I think that a beginner would want to get into fabrication. So if you think there's a tool that I missed that I should have added into this list in place of one of the other ones, or just in addition to, shoot me a comment down below and I will add it into the next video. So again, thank you guys so much for tuning in to Fabrication 101. I will see you guys next time, and until then, do me a favor, do yourself a favor, and go build something.